Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Sean McVay tore his plantar fascia on the sidelines, Tony. You have any on-the-job ailments?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I suffer from narcolepsy, but, only when you're talking.
Well, stay out.
Yeah, other than that,
give me more time before the bell. Just stay gone.
Yeah.
Not on out there, big fella.
I should do that.
Yeah.
I'll just nod off. I'll nod off to the side visual. Like that while you're talking.
Great
you can
visual,
just go right through the bell.
Yeah.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Chargers go to 2-0. Tom Brady wears a headset, and Jeff Saturday joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to 2-0 last night by once again scoring the winning points in the last minute of regulation. This time it was a 2-yard touchdown run by Rachaad White with 6 seconds to go to beat Houston 20-19. Houston lost at home to drop to 0-2. Wilbon, are you more focused on the 2-0 Bucs or the 0-2 Texans?
The Bucs, Tony, at least for now. And let me just start by saying, there were times late in his college career and early in his pro career when I thought Baker Mayfield stop. It was slurpage of what he was going to be and what he was, and it just seemed completely unnecessary and overstated because it was. But that was then. Baker Mayfield, and I know there are a lot of elements to the Tampa Bay team. They defend, they can run, they always seem to have terrific offensive line play, even when they're missing their tackles and they move a center out to tackle, they still somehow seem to be able to get it together. That's good coaching. But Baker Mayfield, man, he just seems to be able to get it done in whatever way you ask. And late in games, Tony, it seems like he's done it once or twice, then he's done it a half dozen times, and now it seems he's on the regular. The Baker Mayfield is saying, let's go, I got this. And he does. And he has made himself not into just an okay quarterback, a quarterback I think a lot of us would like and a lot of teams should trade their guy for. So Baker Mayfield and Tampa have my attention right now. They win the division anyway. They look like they're going to win it again.
Yeah, I'm going to applaud you for everything that you said because I want to say essentially the same stuff, that Baker Mayfield was maligned for years in this league, especially at Cleveland. And what has Cleveland exactly done without Baker Mayfield? So Tampa Bay doesn't win the Super Bowl, and they're in a weak division, but they go to the playoffs all the time. Baker Mayfield wins games. That run on 4th and 10 was spectacular last night. And after that, he completed 5 passes in a row. So, what are we talking about here? The guy is a good professional
really good
quarterback who wins games. So let me go over to Houston now, because Houston is a disappointing team. They're going in the wrong direction right now. 6 of their last 8 games over 2 seasons, they've scored 20 or fewer points.
Yeah.
Right now, they have the fewest points in all of football. They were a sexy pick last year because C.J. Stroud had a great rookie year. But he went the wrong direction last year, and he's continuing that. In the second half last night, Mike, he completed 5 passes for 76 yards. That's nothing. And the defense that they have that everybody is salivating about and slobbering over allowed an 80-yard, 11-play drive in the last 2 minutes. So how good was that?
Their
the answer is it wasn't very good.
You know what? I'm not ready to bury them yet. I think Houston can still be okay, particularly in that division. I think they will be.
Yeah,
they have the problem offensively that a lot of teams have with a defensive coach. They don't score enough points. You're right about that. But I'm not ready to bury them. You are. We're going to keep that, in mind over the next couple of weeks. Let's move to last night's late game in which the Chargers beat the Raiders 20-9 long after Tony was asleep. Justin Herbert threw 2 first-half touchdown passes. The Chargers picked off Geno Smith 3 times, including once in the end zone. Fabulous play in the fourth quarter. Tony, the Chargers are now the only 2-0 team in the AFC West with wins over 2 division opponents. Are you sold on them?
Am I sold on them? I'm not quite sold on them, but let's put the under contract sign out because I'm close to being sold on them. They beat Kansas City at a neutral site in Brazil. Then they went to Las Vegas and they beat the Raiders and they beat them comfortably. So as you say, they're 2-0 in division and they haven't played at home yet. And it appears that they have now in Justin Herbert, the guy they thought they were going to get when they drafted him 6 years ago. All right? I mean, he's got 5 touchdown passes and no interceptions And last year he had 23 touchdown passes and just 3 interceptions. And a lot of this is Jim Harbaugh. The flowering of Justin Herbert was not until Jim Harbaugh got there. Before Harbaugh got there, he had 42 interceptions in 4 years, and now he has 3 in a year plus. And this, Mike, as you know, because you love Harbaugh,
I do.
This is why you hire Jim Harbaugh, to fix your quarterback. And the other reason you hire him is because he makes improvements quickly, which he did at Stanford, which he did with the 49ers, which he did at Michigan, and which he's doing now with the Chargers. And so you hire him, even though maybe you think he's a loon. But you hire him because it works.
You know where I wanted to hire him? You know, I screamed about that for years. Hire him. They'd gotten rid of Eberflus a year earlier. They could have hired him. It's H&H. It's Herbert and Harbaugh. That, yes, I am bullish on the Chargers. And you know, in previous years, for decades, back to when you and I were working sports writers, I would say stop with the Chargers. Because they take a nap. They do.
They take a nap.
They're not going to take a nap under Harbaugh because he's not going to let them. And I'm not giving up on the Chiefs yet. And Denver's really good. Denver got hosed because they would be 2-0. They got hosed. That's the only way I see it. And they're going to get Denver. That's going to be a nice matchup coming in week 3.
But that's at home.
That's
at home for the Chargers.
Yeah. They got it at home.
I wish it was in San Diego, but it's in L.A. That's the way it works these days.
Well, we still call it San Diego, you and I, and we will call it San Diego.
Yep. Let's move to Tom Brady in his dual role as broadcaster and team owner. He broadcasts for Fox, and he owns a piece of the Raiders. Last night, Brady looked like Beau Brummel in a jacket and tie, sitting in a Raiders coaching booth on a headset. This is not illegal by NFL rules, but it is causing a stir. Wilbon, Brady in the booth wearing a headset. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
Brady in the booth wearing a headset's nothing. Nothing, a waste of time. And I thought last night, wow, this is like Sean Connery, 1964, in a booth with a headset. I don't care about that at all. The question is, what happens during the week before we get, and usually, and you know about this, having been involved in crew and discussions. I'm going to turn this over to you.
That's right.
Look, it's a terrible appearance of impropriety. I can't say there's any impropriety. I don't know. I mean, there were some people on television this morning saying they figure Brady's cheating because he always was involved in other cheating scandals. I'm not going there. The appearance of impropriety is enough that the NFL should say, no, we're not going to have this. Any improprieties, insider trading, that if Brady or anybody else wanted to, and you got information during the week, and then you were in meetings with people on whatever you met Friday, Saturday, you could divulge state secrets. You could have favorite players on other teams. The appearance of impropriety and conflict of interest. Now, you know this intimately because you sat in on these. What do you think?
Well, let me talk. I agree with you about the appearance of impropriety. I do not think this is a big deal yet, and I see that the NFL is trying to diffuse it. I do not think it's cheating. I do not think it's awful. But I think it looks bad.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're in a broadcast crew, in order to make the broadcast better, you have access to players and to coaches that other people don't have. Because you're asking a lot of questions about a lot of topics, and you're gleaning information. And even though Brady doesn't do it in person and he does it electronically, he still has access to all these players. If he has, Mike, and I'm going to assume you agree with me on this, if he has a different agenda, if his agenda is because he is an owner of the Raiders, then he may be looking for certain kinds of information to pass along.
Yes.
He has a privilege that no other owner has in talking to these players and these coaches. And so you and I agree, it doesn't look good. Now, the NFL came out today and they said, hey, this is legal. What I would have suggested, and by the way, I would have had Goodell on it and not an underling, because Brady deserves that. What I would have suggested is to say he can't talk to players and coaches within 2 weeks of a Raiders game. I think that would have made, everybody feel good, because we both agree. There's something that doesn't look right.
That's right. And Tony, real quickly, just to underscore this, we're not even saying this is not Brady's doing. The league has to decide the appearance here is what. What does this mean for somebody that takes his product seriously and wants its product to be viewed with a certain perspective? What does this? Didn't mean Brady's done anything wrong, but
No. He hasn't. He's going by the rules.
Yes, he's
not
doing what he's allowed to do. Absolutely.
Let's take a break. Coming up, if teams had trouble with the tush push before, what do they do now that some Eagles appear to be going early? We're going to ask Jeff Saturday.
We'll also ask him whether the Bengals' offensive line deserves heat for Joe Burrow's turf toe.
By the way, our friend Grant Hill is a part owner of the Atlanta Hawks and a broadcaster on NBC.
Yeah.
So this could happen to him.
Marcos is...
Let's get into the NFL trenches with our great friend, ESPN NFL analyst Jeff Saturday. Jeff, we're going to start with everybody's favorite play, the tush push. The Eagles now appear to start early on several of these tush pushes against the Chiefs. What should teams, or what should the league maybe do about this?
Well, I mean, you got to call it. If somebody's ahead of the snap count, they got to call it. But let me put this in perspective. It is not abnormal for offensive linemen to anticipate the snap count that their quarterback is given. So let's just say, you get a hut for your cadence. At the end of the first hut, I'm going to start snapping the ball before that second hut comes so that everybody is moving at the same time. We want to use that as an advantage. We want to use that as a weapon for an offensive lineman. So we aren't waiting for that last tee to hit before I snap the ball. When I'm letting that thing rip and let's go. So I think they're trying to anticipate the snap count. So the guards were getting a little bit ahead. They will officiate it down. I am a fan of the tush push. I have put this on record a number of times. There's 31 other teams that could be doing it and are not for a reason. The Eagles are very effective at it. They're not going to stop until somebody stops it. They will officiate it better than they did this past week. But I love the play and the execution.
All right, Jeff, the Lions' offensive line lost Frank Ragnow to retirement, yet their line seems to be, still pretty good. They look good in week 2 against the Bears. Meanwhile, the Bears cannot get this offensive line together no matter how many changes they make. How can one outfit be so good at this and another, same division, be so awful year after year?
Yeah, well, I'll say Hank Frailer, the offensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, is a very good coach, and he was a good player as well. And so, and I think what they have done is they have likened their offensive line to Dan Campbell. They are a rough and rugged bunch. They want to play the run first and then get into pass. This is not a team that's going to get back in shotgun, 80% of their snaps and let you just tee off. They want to be coming off the ball, firing off the ball. And I know people don't understand, but when a quarterback goes underneath center and is turning his back to the line of scrimmage, it's a benefit to the offensive line. In the run game and in the play-action pass game, when all 11 defenders can see everything that's happening in the shotgun, it makes it hard. I think they do a really good job of balancing it. For so far, the Bears in what they've had pre-Ben Johnson have not been able to figure that part out. I think Ben Johnson will get there. Like I said before, you got to be patient with this thing. But he understands that being under center, understanding how to formulate that between quarterback and center, and then how that will help and translate to the offensive line will be very beneficial for the Bears.
I'm going to switch over to ask about something that has peeved me now for, 48 hours. I thought the defensive leverage penalty called against the Broncos that got the Colts that game-winning re-kick was garbage. So, Jeff, does the penalty and the 15-yard punishment for that penalty make sense to you? And should this particular one even have been called a penalty?
Okay, it should have been called. It was a penalty. But here, this is what I equate this to. This is like the defensive end who's rushing the passer, reaches out and just barely grazes the mask, right, or pushes the mask of the quarterback, and it's roughing the passer, or it's the guy who hits the quarterback and tries to fall, and they're like, oh, no, his body splashed on him. It is garbage, right? But it's the rule, and so the referee called it. It's a right call, but it's frustrating, right, because you don't want to see games decided by something that ticky-tack. If there was a clear advantage or somebody's getting hurt or it puts somebody at risk, I totally get it. But I'm with you. It's one of those, It can be both, right? It's both and. It's garbage because we don't like it, but it is a foul and it should have been called, and they did call it. And effectively, the Colts win the game because they get another shot at kicking the field goal.
Yeah, and the Colts are 2-0. And Daniel Jones is leading them up and down the field day after day after day, it just seems.
Let's go.
He's the MVP of the league right now. All right, I'll get you out of here on this. And we ask you this because of the position you played for all those years. The Bengals' offensive line is apparently taking heat for Joe Burrow's turf toe. That's your position.
It's crazy.
Does this make sense to you?
Okay, so because people, they equate quarterbacks getting hit to offensive line, and I totally understand that. But I just made this point, and I'm going to make it again. The way the Bengals operate their offense is Joe Burrow is in gun a large majority of the time. Everybody in the building knows they're going to pass it. They're not very effective running the football. Defensive players are going to have their ears pinned back, and Joe Burrow wants to hold the ball, right? He wants to extend plays. He wants to make big plays. He wants to manipulate the pocket, get the ball downfield, all of those things. All of that is inherent risk to a QB. He's going to get hit. And those defensive linemen understand if they are persistent and keep rushing, keep pushing, they're eventually going to put a body on a body. And that's what has happened. It has accumulated in Burrow's career. That's why you see so many injuries. And it's frustrating because the offensive line ultimately gets blamed. There's a lot of blame to go around. In the building with everybody involved, protecting the quarterback is head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback, and offensive line. It's everybody involved, and they just haven't done a good enough job.
Yeah, so get off the center for a little while on this.
That's right, baby.
Jeff.
Get off the whole line
on this, as always.
Yeah. Let's take one last break. Still to come, the Phillies clinch the NL East.
And a few words about the life and times of the now departed Robert Redford,
who was only in about 30 great movies.
That's all. At least.
Maybe 40. Maybe 40.
And directed
list.
a few, too.
Yes. Happy time, people. Happy 32nd birthday, Bryson DeChambeau. Of all the players who bolted from the PGA Tour for the guaranteed money of the Saudi Tour, DeChambeau may be the most consistently impressive. In 2024, DeChambeau won the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, his second Open, beating Rory McIlroy when McIlroy stumbled on the 18th hole and DeChambeau did not. This past year, DeChambeau finished T2 in the PGA, T5 in the Masters, and top 10 in the British Open. DeChambeau is the only American player on the LIV Tour to qualify for the United States Ryder Cup team, and although he wasn't eligible to play in last week's Pro Court Championship, DeChambeau showed up to show solidarity with his Ryder Cup teammates who did play.
Tony, I can't figure out how I feel year to year about DeChambeau. There was a time where I thought he was a villain, a worthy villain, but a villainous sort of figure. And then he just seems to now be happy all the time with everybody. He's high-fiving the gallery. He's got a different thing. He lost all that crazy muscle mass where he looked like some caricature. I think I like him now, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll revert.
Now, you tell me in a week. Let me know. Happy anniversary, Ryan Fitzpatrick. On this day 7 years ago, playing with Tampa Bay, Fitzpatrick became the first quarterback in NFL history to pass for at least 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in each of the first 2 games of a season. Fitzpatrick played 17 seasons in the NFL, started for 9 different teams, an NFL record for quarterbacks. He earned $82 million, the highest career earnings ever for a 7th-round pick, which he was, out of Harvard in 2005. However, Brock Purdy is about to pass Fitzpatrick money-wise. When Fitzpatrick retired, he had the NFL record for most games played without a playoff appearance. I like him in the Thursday night pregame show on Amazon Prime. Do you?
Yeah, he and Andrew Whitworth. It's just a lot of beard. But I like those guys. Why didn't more teams hold on to him longer at quarterback? If you could last 17 years for all those teams, couldn't, just 2 or 3 say, we like you? I don't understand that either.
A melancholy trails to Robert Redford. The great actor died this morning at the age of 89. Redford starred in sports films like The Natural and The Unseen Downhill Racer. But his greatest fame came from a run in the late 60s and early 70s that included Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 3 Days of the Condor, The Sting, and the great All the President's Men. And he also won an Oscar for directing Wilbon's favorite film, Ordinary People.
My favorite film ever, Tony, but quick story. don't you remember after playing in All the President's Men, after playing Bob Woodward, our dear friend and idol, where Robert Redford would come into the Washington Post newsroom to see Woodward and everybody would just stand around and stare at him? That was so crazy that Bob Woodward would just be like, he'd walk in, fellas, hello.
They were great friends for like 50 years.
Really?
Great friends.
Wow.
Let's go to the big finish quickly. Cade Horton and Paul Skeens tonight. I'll bet you're excited.
I am fired up. Cade Horton, Rookie of the Year, and he's going to win tonight. Phillies clinched the NL East. That's a big deal, isn't it?
Best lineup 1 through 9 in the majors and has been for 3 years. Jordan Alvarez of the Astros left last night's game with a left ankle sprain. Is that cause for concern?
Yeah, we're a couple of weeks from postseason, and they need him to overtake. Yes. Mondo Duplantis set the pole vault record for a 14th time. Is that bogus, or are you impressed?
No, Sergei Bubka did this. He would kick it up a quarter of an inch at every meet because he got paid every time he raised the record. That's what this guy does. Last one, 2 WNBA playoff games tonight. Who you got?
The Dream and the Aces will win, close their series out respectively, and move on.
We're out of time. We will try to do better the next time, and I am Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. And now, here's SportsCenter.
Okay, do you see the picture behind me? That's a picture of my dog looking at a tennis ball, painting.
PTI bonus segment.
All right, Wilbon, where do you rank the Chargers in the AFC after 2 weeks?
1 in the AFC. I mean, look, to me, it's got to be between them and Buffalo right now. So I'm talking about strength of schedule. Yes, Buffalo beat Baltimore, and you can say that tops everything. And okay, fine, but then Buffalo beat the Jets, and that doesn't top anything. So with strength of schedule, I'm going to give the nod. So far, it's an early sample size. I'm going to give give it to the Chargers for having beaten Kansas City and won at the Raiders. And the Raiders, with Pete Carroll leading the way, I think are going to be better than people thought coming into this season, and certainly better than your Jets. So I'm going to say that. And, Herbert and Harbaugh, there's some magic in that. I mean, Harbaugh, come on now. He's going to go down as a great coach, as a Hall of Fame coach for what he did in the NFL and in college. I don't want him to have to go very long without Khalil Mack, because even though Mack is past maybe the peak of his prime, he can still get it done and help a defensive front get it done in San Diego. Yes, I said San Diego. I'm going Chargers. Yeah. 1.
All right, so you have them 1. I just want to make sure you have the Chargers 1 right now. They're 1 right now. In the interest of full disclosure, I think I need to tell the people who are watching that 2 weeks ago in the NFC, you had Green Bay 1.
I did.
You said, Green Bay is going to go to the Super Bowl. They're my pick for the Super Bowl. Then yesterday, you backed off a little bit and you said, no, I got the Eagles 1 now. All right, so after 2 weeks, you're saying the Chargers, but after 3 weeks, you might be saying something else. In fact, if Denver goes to the Chargers and wins that game, you're going to say something else. The most surprising team in the league to me is also in the AFC, and it's Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I don't know how far they're going to go, but I'm stunned at how good they've done already. The reason you can take the Chargers right now, outside of Buffalo, is that Baltimore gagged late in that game, and Kansas City is 0-2, and the Steelers, another traditional powerhouse, they look lackluster at the moment. So I understand going for San Diego because we call them San Diego.
We always
I get that, but part of me says let's wait to 5 weeks instead of just 2. Let's just see down the road how it works out.
But they ask us today, so we got to say something today. And today weren't they the San Diego Superchargers? Wasn't that a promotional thing they had at one point?
Yeah.
Still the San Diego Chargers here on this set.
Yeah.
That's it.
Chargers.
We're done. Back to you.
Tony.